So following up from yesterday's video talking about shadows, obviously Tusk is the next shadow on hand, and I just kind of briefly spoke about how, with core attack, how it can be beneficial, but at the same time, if you want to put a hold onto it and wait to see what the original shadow is going to be, that is going to be dropping the next month after, being in July, then you can do so. Now, I don't know how I didn't think of it, but shout out to you guys, of course, since a few guys have mentioned, say, what if it's critical hit damage, right? Because we've got critical hit rate, we've got attack, defense, HP, we've got the core attack, we don't have critical hit damage. I'm for that. If anything, I'm surprised I didn't think of it, but I would want that. Now the big question is, to what percentage are we going to be getting it at? That's the big old question. Although it could be other things if they choose to go down that route. I mean, really looking at it, they can also cater to defense, pen, speed, etc. Right? There's a vast variety of buffs, but yeah, it seems critical hit damage was the one that I didn't think of. So yeah, shout out to you guys, appreciate that. Now I'm just like, maybe it might be worth not going too crazy for Tusk, because I mean, here's the thing: these traces. Fortunately, I can't buy them, otherwise I would have bought a whole lot, but yeah, thinking about that now, I'm kind of intrigued on actually saving a little bit, which is something that I might actually do in preparations for the Shadow in July. Now, back in April, if I can remember correctly, I did a whole timeline informing everyone on how the Shadows were going to be scheduled out, and obviously things have slightly kind of changed in a way, so I'm just going to kind of re-go over everything and put it in a much better structure to kind of give you guys a better understanding and an idea on the Shadows releasing now that the roadmap is back on track. Okay, so as we know, the roadmap is looking like to be the real deal now, since we're using this schedule. They've gone back onto it, as we all know. So in June, Tusk will officially make his appearance. That will be supporting the core damage. In July, it is going to be an original Shadow, because the storyline itself is on a halt, and it will be picking up back in September. In August, there is going to be a break. It's when the whole festival, 100-day celebration, all that happens. So no Shadows to cater to there. And so in September is going to be the Wyvern, aka Kaiser, of course. So once you defeat Baron, I'm sure and saying in the storyline, or within the story itself, there'll be a cutscene where we can obtain our newest Shadow. Not sure what the Wyvern's going to be doing. It is a flying Shadow too, so that's going to be interesting to see gameplay wise on how that's going to play out. I want to say that maybe Kaiser might be a speed buffer, only because within solo leveling, Jinwoo uses this Shadow for like flying and traveling, right? So it's kind of giving me that vibe of maybe we get like a speed increase for our, for our hunters and our characters and whatnot. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna say that. Now this is where things get a little bit more interesting, because the next Shadows that we get, there's one in October, and then November there's none, but in December the Jeju Island arc starts in December. Now obviously it's a bit of a weird one on how that's going to work out, because actually no, if they've got stuff lined up for October, then in reality Bearer should be dropping in December then. So just to give you guys an idea on what was the original timeline, Tusk was dropping in June, July was an OC, September was Kaizo, October was Beru, and then December was Jima, of course. Now Jima as a Shadow just comes from a gate. There's nothing really too crazy about it, right? So honestly pretty cute. Cuddly too, so we'll say that. But yeah, again, there's nothing really special about Jima, to be honest, in terms of how he comes about. But regardless, that was the original timeline. But with how things are being scheduled, and we've got the half anniversary kind of in the middle of it all, the thing about Beru is that this Shadow comes from the Jeju Island arc, right? So really looking at things, I assume in September, once we get the floor 100, I mean, to be fair, they could drop some sort of story, and then that will then, well, no, it's the release arc, isn't it? So yeah, Barry has to drop in December. So it's going as follows: Tusk, original character, Kaisel the Wyvern. October is probably going to be an original shadow, so we're going to get 2 original shadows this year. And then in December, that is when the Jeju Island arc starts, and that is when we'll see Beru, the next shadow that's obviously within the show itself. And then Jima will probably be next year sometime, because this shadow again comes in as a regular gate raid, to be honest. So I don't want to say it might be a filler, but kind of can be realistically. So that is kind of what we're looking at. That's kind of like the schedule. So we're due, by the looks of it, to OC. The only difference that the timeline could make if they choose to release the story arc in October, which I don't think they will. A part of me thinks that I feel like they're sticking with their guns, and they've got things lined up, and they might do like little teasers and whatnot leading into December, because of course we've got the half anniversary splitting it in between. So that is the timeline in terms of shadows with what we're getting. I'm not too sure what Barrett could be doing in terms of, I mean, well then again, this is a pretty tough shadow. Yeah, maybe given attack speed, who knows. But just to give you guys an idea in terms of the OC shadows and what we could expect, Alpha a while back did say that there was like the Cerberus shadow minions of some sort found, and so there's some werewolves right here. So that is one of the hot choices of, I think, what majority want to be the next OC. Keep in mind, when it comes to bosses that we have fought in game, more than likely one of those bosses will be our next OC shadow. Just want to clarify that. Just like how it is right now currently with Blades. So with all the bosses that we have seen within Solo Leveling Arise, out of those, which one would you like to see as a shadow? That's basically what's going to be happening with the original characters, unless there's a design that we have never seen before that they're keeping hidden away. Fair play, but more than likely it is bosses that we have fought against that will get turned into shadows, because I mean that's technically how that works, right? You defeat them, well, you defeat the creatures and then you kind of arise them, right? So that's kind of how that works. So that's why we've got the Golem and we've got the Cerberus here. And if this has been found, like these werewolves and whatnot, then yeah, I'm down for a crit damage increase Cerberus. That to me will be fantastic. Now, one other thing that I've mentioned when I was initially doing the shadow video was we haven't had elemental specific shadows. So this is why I mean the shadows have a lot of longevity within them with what more they can do. Like there's so many more all team effects that they can apply clearly, but we can go furthermore into that if we have specific shadows benefiting specific typing. So now we're getting furthermore into it, and this is why I say there is so much longevity to be added. And so with the Cerberus, not only am I also thinking about maybe it's the next OC dropping, and critical hit damage could be their main stat to provide for us, which is going to be fantastic. But what if the additional is that with the Cerberus, it's kind of fitting too that there's also a bit of a fire increase going on, fire damage increase, you know? So that's again something more that we can in the future look forward to. Although it would kind of ruin it for the Cerberus, because I feel like they're kind of fitting to have that fire damage, unless they make their way in and they are going to be giving all team fire increase, right? Straight off the bat, just get on with the whole element buff. So that could happen, but I'm leaning towards to say that the Cerberus for July, fingers crossed. And then I'm also going to go with what you guys are saying, critical hit damage, fingers crossed. So yeah, that is the full updated lineup that I just kind of wanted to go over and inform you guys on. So Tusk is dropping in 2 days time. We will unlock him, and then I don't think I'm going to go too crazy on improving him, because if the original shadow for July is the Cerberus and we are getting that critical hit damage, I'm catering to that to a lot more than the core damage. I'm gonna just be real. So even I might actually play the long game here and just kind of wait it out just to see what's going on in July, because again in August we do get a shadow break, which is a good thing. So there's that. Alrighty, you guys, well, there we go. That is the full-on update for the Shadow schedule and on who is going to be dropping where. So once again, Tusk in June, original character in July, September will be Wyvern the Kaiser when we defeat Baron, October is going to be an original character, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because in December, if they do keep Jeju Island in December release, that will then fall in line with Beru releasing in December, because that Shadow comes into play when this arc is on its way. So yeah, also just to forget, this was kind of shown back in April when the game was in soft launch, but as you guys are aware, currently right now, when it comes to Shadows, Elite Knight is kind of like the max on where you can promote the Shadows, and then it seems that at a later stage we'll be able to further surpass it, or surpass their promotion. So God knows how much that's going to cost. Probably like 400 traces. Oh god.